Like and subscribe to PalsFundamentals for more content like this. Sources linked below. Welcome, everyone. Today we're doing a special Faroes news report, bringing you key information from some recent dispatches. Our mission today is really just to present the facts as they've been reported. We want to offer you a concise overview of several important developments without adding any extra commentary from our side.
Exactly. We'll cover a few things. An initiative for affordable housing, some key discussions about the future of the realm, a look at recent cancer trends across the Nordics, and also a local traffic incident that got some attention. Our focus is purely on the information provided in the sources we looked at.
Okay, let's start then. First up, an update from Tórshavn regarding housing.
Right. So Bústaðir has decided to sell 44 new residential units. These are at Delavegen in Tórshavn. And they're selling them as shared apartments, or lutaíbúðir, as they're called there.
Lutaíbúðir, okay.
Yeah. And this initiative, it seems, addresses a pretty long-standing public desire for these kinds of housing options. They're quite common in other countries, apparently.
Interesting. So it's a model people have been asking for. What about the cost?
Well, the total cost for the whole project is around 168.75 million Danish kroner. And this cost, it's been divided up into 44 parts, or shares. The prices for these shares, they range from about 2.75 million up to 4.9 million Danish kroner.
Okay, quite a range there.
Yeah. And the pricing takes different factors into account. Things like, size, the interior layout, where it is in the building, and the view.
Makes sense. And how does the sale actually work? Is there a queue?
There's a priority system. So individuals who already live in Bústaðir properties or people who are registered with Bústaðir, they get first dibs, essentially.
Right.
Any shared apartments that aren't sold within 3 weeks, those will then be made available for public sale. And that'll be handled in collaboration with Skin, a real estate agency.
Got it. So if listeners are interested, where can they find out more?
For more detailed information, things like info meetings, details on the Shared Apartment Association itself, sales materials, all of that is available on Skin's official website.
Okay, good to know. Next up, let's turn to the ongoing discussions about the Faroe Islands place within the Danish Realm.
Yes, this is quite a significant topic. According to a recent article, there seems to be a broad consensus forming among almost all the parliamentary parties on this, with one exception, that being the Sambandsflokken.
Oh, what happened there?
Well, the report says they withdrew sort of at the last minute. They announced that they felt the other 5 parties were intending to leave the realm, but without a clear plan in place.
Leaving the realm without a clear plan. That sounds risky. Does the article elaborate on that?
It does touch on it. It notes that, while politicians can sometimes be opportunistic, it seems unlikely that any party, even Tórshavn, which traditionally supports independence, would actually try to leave without serious preparation. The article also mentions a couple of ideas like Connection 2.0, which weren't presented as particularly serious options. And it suggests a Home Rule Act 2.0 isn't really seen as solving the current challenges either.
So the desire seems to be for greater autonomy, maybe more self-representation internationally.
That seems to be the core of it, yes. Greater autonomy and self-representation.
But the report also highlights this doesn't necessarily mean abandoning the benefits of being part of the realm.
Exactly. It's a nuanced position. They want more control, particularly internationally, but aren't necessarily looking to sever all ties and lose the advantages the realm might offer. Interestingly, the concept of a realm community, like a partnership, was apparently first introduced by the former chairman of the Sambandsflokken, the party that just withdrew from the talks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in a 2012 prime minister's speech. He expressed a dream, his words, of a realm community with 3 independent countries.
Wow. And that sentiment, that idea of an equal partnership, it was echoed more recently, wasn't it, by the Danish Prime Minister?
It was. In 2023, Mette Frederiksen, in her Folketing opening speech, said something quite significant. She said, and I'm quoting here, "There was once a time when there was Denmark, and then there were 2 other countries in the realm. That's over now." It's not Denmark that will determine the future for either Greenland or the Faroe Islands. That is a decision that belongs to Nuuk and Tórshavn. She continued, "But as long as we have a realm community, and I personally hope we have it for many years to come, then it must be an equal cooperation between 3 countries, 3 peoples, 3 governments, and 3 languages."
That's a very clear statement from Denmark. acknowledging equality.
Absolutely. And the report we looked at suggests this really presents an opportunity. If the Faroes can sort of maintain their rights within the realm while also gaining the authority for self-representation, well, that could be a very positive outcome.
So the key is finding that balance.
Right. The report urges all parties to try and unite on this path forward.
All right. Let's shift now from the political landscape to public health. We have some insights into cancer trends across the Nordic countries.
Yes. Looking at the Nordic region overall, the probability of someone developing cancer before age 75, it remains stable in 2023. It was 30.6%, which is basically the same figure as it was a decade ago.
Stable overall. But how do the different Nordic countries compare? Are there variations?
Oh, definitely. Comparing the data for 2023, Denmark actually had the highest likelihood at 33.6%. The Faroe Islands recorded the lowest rate, 21.9% for 2023, which is not only the lowest in the Nordics for that year, but it's also the lowest rate the Faroes have seen in the past 10 years.
Wow, that's quite low compared to Denmark. What about the others?
Norway was at 31.9%, Iceland 30.2%, Sweden 29.2%, and Finland 28.8%. So yeah, the Faroes are notably lower on incidence.
You mentioned Faroes figures show more annual variability, though. Why is that?
That's attributed to the smaller population size. With fewer people, even small changes in the actual number of cases can make the percentages jump around more year to year compared to larger countries. So over the last decade, from 2013 to 2023, the Faroes rate has fluctuated. It's been between this low of 21.9% and a high of 30.8%.
Okay, that makes sense. Good context. So incidence is relatively low, but what about survival rates after diagnosis?
That's a different part of the story. Looking at 5-year cancer survival rates, back in 2022, the Faroe Islands actually had the lowest rates for both men and women among the Nordic countries.
Oh, that's concerning.
It was. However, there was an improvement reported for 2023. Faroes men's 5-year survival rate went up to 70.3%. That's nearly on par with men in Finland.
Okay, that's bad.
And for Faroes women, the rate is now 72%. That's a bit higher than Finnish men, but still lower than women in the other Nordic countries. So progress, yes, but maybe still some ground to make up.
Progress is good news. Are there any specific cancer types showing interesting trends within the Faroes data over the last decade?
Yes, a few points stand out. There's been a steady increase noted in colorectal cancer cases. Also, skin cancer, which includes melanoma and other types, saw its highest incidence rate in 2023 for that 10-year period.
Right. And what about oral cancers?
For oral, lip, and pharyngeal cancers, there's been a trend since 2016 showing more men than women being diagnosed. And this aligns with international research that links almost 60% of these specific cancers to the HPV virus.
Interesting connection there. Any positive trends? Decreases.
Yes, actually. In contrast, there's a positive trend for breast cancer in women. The reports show a steady decrease in diagnosed cases since 2018.
That's definitely good to hear.
And just to note, the Faroes Public Health Authority compiles these statistics for Nordcan using data from the Faroes Cancer Registry.
Okay, very thorough data. Finally, let's cover a report on a recent traffic incident. This one happened in the Eysturoyartunnil.
That's right. The incident was described as a solo accident, so just one vehicle involved. And this vehicle collided with the artwork by Trondr Patterson, the piece that's located in the tunnel's roundabout.
The artwork in the roundabout. I know the one. Was anyone hurt?
Fortunately, no. There were no reported personal injuries from the collision. The tunnel was closed immediately, though, for about an hour to an hour and a half, mainly to prevent traffic queues from forming inside.
Understandable. Do the police know what caused the driver to hit the artwork?
Well, currently, the police say they don't know the cause of the accident. The driver, who was alone in the car, was tested and wasn't under the influence of anything, so the investigation is still ongoing.
Bit strange then. Has this happened before, hitting that specific artwork?
Apparently, yes. It's noted that similar collisions with the artwork in that roundabout have happened previously. And Trondr Patterson, the artist, has actually repaired the artwork on prior occasions because of similar incidents.
Really? So it's not the first time. That's quite something.
It does seem to be a recurring issue, yes.
Well, that covers our Faroes news report for today. From housing initiatives and realm discussions to health trends and even tunnel art collisions, we hope this overview of the reported facts has been informative for you. Like and subscribe to PalsFundamentals for more content like this. Sources linked below.